Hello everyone, it's Rory from Pratt's Pods and Micro Soldering Repairs. Today I am here with an iPad Mini 3. Now this, as you can probably tell, with all this dust under the screen, this has been repaired before. And obviously with the dust under the screen, it's not been repaired by us. I'm sorry, I'm unprepared for this video. It's first thing in the morning, I thought I'd knock one out. Wait, that didn't sound very good. I should restart that. I thought I should get a video out of the way first thing this morning because it looks like it's going to be a busy day. Get my gloves on so I don't make any further marks to the LCD. So, this has been repaired before. Screen is a bit loose. I've applied a little bit of heat, but this is pretty much, there you go, off that easy. A little bit of heat. So this has actually been brought in for something very simple, something very common that we see on the Mini 3s, and basically that's been glued and stuck down with the adhesive. Excuse me. So we've got a whole load of Captain tape here covering up this button and holding the adhesive, the button flex down. So what this has been brought in for is home button not clicking. So that can be a couple of things. The most common one I see, oh, it's super glued, that's great. So the most common one I see is the actual mechanism going on these ones. I don't know why it happens so much on the Mini 3, but I do see that an awful lot. Now, this has been glued down, so it's nice and fun getting this button out. And that is exactly what's happened. So, same as usual, we've got the mechanism that's damaged. Well, not damaged, missing. I'll show you that in just a second. So, this here, that's the mechanism, and that's basically what clicks. So let me get one of these. This is button of an iPad Air. If you see there, that's got the black dot in the middle, and that's what's missing on this basically, and that's what helps this to click. So what I'm going to do is take this iPad, fill it apart. Excuse me, I've got a cough this morning. So I'm going to take this all apart now. I'm going to have to clean the frame up, fix that home button. So what I do to repair these home buttons is I will literally, that button I just showed you, I will take the mechanism off of that and fit it onto this one, and that will fix the home button on this. Now, most people, unfortunately, that do repairs, I've heard of, well, just recently on an iPad Pro actually, a lady's been in with the same issue. She's been to a couple of other repairers, and one had told her they had to replace the whole screen, and this was on an iPad Pro, so that's probably just because they don't have the skills to remove the screen without damaging it, so they need to cover their own arse. Or the other person told them they'd have to replace the button, which obviously loses Touch ID, which the lady didn't want to do. Now, this back panel here only has half the screws it should, so it has 4 screws. That's a bit crap. I mean, the problem I find nowadays is that no one seems to do this stuff properly. The battery's not perfect in there, but what can you do? And again, there's only 3 of the 4 screws here. So that's not great, but not the end of the world particularly. It's just one screw off of a flat here. So obviously first thing I do, remove the battery, and then we're going to unclip the LCD and the digitizer too. So let's see where we stand with this. So LCD and give that a quick wipe over and see if those dust marks go. Some of them have, unfortunately not all of them, but when it's stained like that you're never going to get them all off. I'm also going to have to clean this digitizer. Now, let's pull that off. So yeah, I'm going to have to clean up this screen, I'm going to have to clean up the frame on here, I'm going to have to repair the home button. So it's turning into a slightly bigger job than just repairing the home button, unfortunately, but hey ho, unfortunately people don't know better. You take these things to people that say they can do a good job, and it's very rare that you find someone that can actually do a good job, from my experience and what I've seen from coming in from other people. So I know of there's loads of people like myself, loads of repairers that do a really good job. I do know a lot of them. We've started up a little community sort of recently to try and keep a community of skilled repairers, and I try and make sure that the ones doing a bad job don't get in, but you're never going to be able to monitor that well enough. So right now I'm just going around the old screen, removing the adhesive. So it looks like this person has used the adhesive that comes on the back of the screen, which is rubbish, and it looks like they've topped it up with some kind of black double-sided adhesive, probably the really weak stuff that everyone uses when they first start. That stuff does not stick it, not well enough at all. So anyone using that adhesive will get problems. I mean, to be honest, this customer hasn't complained at all about the quality of the previous repair. He's just come in and said the home button's not working. He said he had it repaired about 6 months ago, so I mean there's no physical proof that it was because of the other repairer. I mean, that home button bracket is fairly well in line. I've seen much worse. I mean, it is super glued on, which isn't great, but hey, everyone seems to use super glue nowadays. It seems to be the go-to adhesive for iPads. It's ridiculous. When you think about it, if you've ever used super glue for anything, and then you've tried to remove what you've super glued, how easy is it to get it off? Not very, which I suppose is why people use it. They think, great, it's never going to come off. But then what happens if it breaks? What happens if you haven't clamped it properly and it doesn't bond to the glass, which you often do find? So that's the back of that LCD clean. And one thing I have noticed is there are no magnets. So their magnetic case obviously won't work, which they do have. So now what I'm going to do is clean this frame. A really weak black adhesive here. And what I do on the battery side is, this isn't the one from this iPad, this is one I just used for basically covering batteries. So if I'm ever scraping adhesive around the frame of an iPad, I'll always use this now, just to make sure we don't slip and pierce the battery. I mean, we've done it once, we're not going to let it happen again. It was a little while ago. Like I say, it's you don't want to be popping these batteries. Obviously it costs us more, because once you pop a battery you do have to replace it or it's going to swell. Not only that, but if you pop a battery, it's not the safest thing to do. Just look on YouTube and just type in iPhone battery exploding or something like that. You'll find some from clips where people have done it just to show people. I wouldn't mind doing a video like that, but not at the moment. Now I'll go over the frame with my alcohol wipe, make sure it's nice and clean. Ready for the new adhesive to bond to the screen. So then once I've cleaned this frame, I'm actually just going to leave this and move on to the home button. So there will be a break in the video because my soldering desk is an absolute mess and I have to make some space. Obviously the adhesive they used is nasty and just falls apart. That's why it's taking so long to clean. If it was decent adhesive, it wouldn't be so difficult to clean it all off. Basically this black tape that they use is just cheap crap that, I mean, it only sticks for a little while. Like I say, everyone uses it to start with. It's just sort of the go-to iPad adhesive. And really what you should do is after a month or two of doing it, when you start getting people coming back. Sorry about that interruption. So, as I was saying, the black adhesive, I mean, after literally a couple of weeks or a month of using it, you will have people coming back complaining the screen's lifting, and that is when you should make the effort, like we did, to find something really good. I mean, the adhesive we use, I don't unfortunately tell people what we use because it literally took me about 1.5 years to find the best stuff to do the job. And I only know of one other company locally that uses it. I know of some far further afield that use it after my recommendation. I don't mind speaking to other repairers. Obviously we all help each other out, that's the point of the community. So if you're a phone or tablet repairer, please look up our Facebook group for phone and tablet repairers. It is called UK Phone Repair Techs, as in technicians, TECH-S. There's a small community of us there that all help each other out when needed, and it's a nice community. We're all pretty laid back, we've all got the same idea, we all like to do jobs properly. And yeah, it's nice to have other like-minded, just like yourself. So, I mean, the thing is, if someone's up north and they ask me about a repair, I can point them in the direction of someone that's actually going to do a good job, rather than them just having to try out some bodge job artists and screen monkeys. Like I say. So we get in there with this frame. And that will do it. So I do have a couple of little bits there that I still need to try and clean up, but I'll take that out now and just scrape around the edge here, where this black adhesive has sort of melted into the frame where it's so crap. And that's just going to end up getting on the LCD, which we definitely don't want. Not on the Retina display that the Mini 3 has. There you go. Like I say, this stuff's just horrible. And if you use it beyond sort of a month of starting, then you should go and start doing something else really, because it's not the right stuff to be putting on customers' devices to try and seal their screens up. It's absolute rubbish. There's so much, I mean, there's so much better than this. This is just about the worst adhesive you can actually get for it. It's, like I say, it took me 1.5 years to find perfect stuff, but I did find some bloody good stuff before that. But I kept looking to find the perfect adhesive. And we did. We have no screen lift ever anymore. The last time a customer came in for a screen lift, it actually turned out that the battery was swelling, so yeah, it wasn't actually screen lift. So yeah, like I say, we never get screen lift anymore. But that's the difference between us, people that have spent years developing and working on what you know, compared to people that just do boss jobs. So now what I'm going to be doing is basically, let me try and get this in focus. So basically now what I've got to do is transfer this clicking mechanism onto this one. So I'm going to go and tidy up my soldering desk. I'll take the video over there and I'll show you exactly how I do that. So I'm back. I've actually decided to take this off of an iPad mini home button flex that I have here. So what I've got to do is put some flux over where the connections are to help the solder melt. Come here and get a bit of solder here. So now I'm just going to put some solder on my iron, and then put that on here. So now I just heat that up and try and lift at the same time to disconnect the button, just like that. Oh, and it just flew off. Brilliant. So that's perfect. It's easier than it normally is. So we have here one mechanism stick on to the old button. So that flex now goes in the bin. This has to come to the side. Let's get you here so I can see you. This thing's falling apart. Bit more here. Try and keep it down so you can see it. Right. And then, so because this is an old mechanism, oh look, it's just falling apart. An old mechanism that doesn't matter, I can just pretty much cover it in flux. Get rid of the old broken mechanism. Put some solder on the iron and just go over every contact again. Slowly start to try and pull up. There you go. Like I said, this mechanism doesn't matter, so if this gets damaged on the removal, it really doesn't matter. There's the old one. Like I said, a lot of people will say you need a whole new home button, a lot of people will say you need a whole screen. If you're going somewhere with a problem like this, and they are telling you that you need a new screen, that you need a new home button, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, a lot of the time you do need a new home button. On a lot of devices, home buttons do go, and you're not always going to be able to fix them this way. There are certain other ways, common problems like the flex damage on the iPhone 7, and so nearly there. Just a bit of there, one last pad. Lovely, that's perfect. I think I'm just going to add a little bit of solder to strengthen these. Perfect. Perfect. Again, trying to do this with my left hand is interesting to say the least. There you go. So now that is making very good contact. Clean this. Give it a quick clean with a little bit of alcohol, not too much. You don't want any getting into the button, so just a quick wipe around. Sorry, I wonder if you could see that. Around the edge to make sure there's no flux or alcohol getting into the actual button itself where the Touch ID is. Over a little bit more. The alcohol's fine because it evaporates very quickly, but you don't want flux getting into the Touch ID or anything like that. So that, if I do say so myself, Looks like a great success. And that looks pretty much perfect. Looks as good as new. So, now if I take us over to the other desk, we can go back here, I can zoom out, move you a bit. So now what I'm going to do, get this back in place basically. So, here's our screen with part of the home button bracket glued on, so I can't remove it. So I think the home button bracket's going to need bending a bit into place because it's not quite right there. And there's a big, this is why it will have broken. There's a big gap. So I think I'm going to have to take this back out. Focus and see what I can do about this, because it's been super glued on, so I can't remove it from the screen. See if I can give it a bit of a bend without causing any damage to the screen. That should do it. All I've done here is basically bend the centre of this metal bit. I'm not sure if you guys can still see. Yeah. So all I've done is bend the centre of this bracket, because someone doesn't know how to fit them. There you go, that is a lot better. So another thing this home button is missing though is a spacer. So there should be a plastic bit around the top of this button. So I'm going to have to dig out and find one. I'm sure this is the benefits to being a bit of a hoarder and keeping all these spares. Look, is when something like this comes up and I need just a simple bit of plastic. Hopefully this is the right size. I'm not sure it is. Oh, look at that, perfect. So now that's got the bit of plastic around it, so it shouldn't come out the front of the screen now, because it's got the spacer. Get that home button in that hole properly. It doesn't seem to line up very well. That looks perfect to me. It's clicking just under the screen height, which on the Mini 3 is pretty much perfect. Now, because the way this has already been stuck down, I'm going to have to use B7000, otherwise my tape's not going to stick it. I would usually use both. I'm going to use the black stuff, which is a black screen, so I would not normally do it this way, but because it's already been glued down, don't have much of a choice because the tape will not work very well. I'm also going to put some of this adhesive around the edge of both. So if you're going to do this, you should be doing it bloody properly. So there's some T7000, which is a strong watertight adhesive. Perfect. So now I need to clamp here with dun, dun, dun. Right, so I'm now clamping that home button in place. That's clicking perfectly. Just gonna have to clean the screen up a bit. Sorry about that, just got interrupted. So yeah, basically just clean the screen now. Give it some time for the adhesive to set, obviously. Clean the outside of it, or I'm never going to see if it's clean or not. And then basically, I'm going to put it all back together. Give it some time for this to, for the adhesive to set, like I said. It's got a nice firm click to it now. It's exactly what we needed. Yeah, so I'm going to put this back in. Well, I'm going to put it all back together. I'm going to leave it clamped for a little while longer and test it. And then we are good to go. So I've got to do this as quickly as possible, otherwise that adhesive's not going to set properly. LCD next. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to plug this in next. The thing is, once I've got it pretty much in one piece, I can test it while it's clamped, so. And then there, and then turning it on. Go, all good signs. Let's get you here. I suppose benefit of it, missing some screws, which I don't have. Spare. It's going to be quick to put that together. I like to try and replace these screws, but I know I don't have any spares for the minis at the moment. I haven't had any dead minis for a while. So unfortunately, we'll have to make do with not all the screws. So, next, screws for the LCD. After all this, I'll be putting down my foam tape, as always on iPads. One of the main things that sets us apart from the rest is the fact that nobody puts any foam tape around the LCD, like they should, because that's how it comes from factory. But generally, repairers don't really give a damn about what comes from factory and just want to fix your stuff as quickly as they can to make as much money as they can. We are in it for the long run. We're not in it to make some quick money and get out. We are actually here to do a good job, provide a service, so you come back next time. Feeling they've used the wrong screws here too. That's not going in at all. Let me find an iPad mini LCD screw. I know I've got one here. And that's too long. I think all this time needs to be short screws on the Mini 3, short screws on the Mini 3, I'm going to have to try and find one, but for now I need to get this back clamped, or it's not going to set properly. There you go, and that's working nicely. I can't show you because there's a picture of the gentleman's child on there, but that's working great, lovely, not a problem at all. So I will wait for this home button to set, and then I'll see you little back up and we'll have another happy customer. So that's it from me. That's Rory Pratt from Pratt's Pods and Microsoft Repairs. Again, just showing you how we do our thing, and that's how we do an iPad repair properly. So you don't lose any of the functions of your device. We will always get you back up and running in no time at all. Thank you very much.